everyone, my name is James, bringing you another video on the Fisch channel here with the 84 Corvette. And today's video is about headers. I actually got the headers in October, recorded me unboxing them, waited for someone to install them. That person shut down their shop. So then January I thought, oh, I should install them. And I finished it up in February, ran straight pipes until the middle of April, and took this long to get this video recorded. But here we are today to talk about the Melrose smooth flow system, go over the installation process and everything. But before we get to that, I would like to thank everyone for subscribing and all the views I've gotten in the comments and all the support. I really appreciate it. I never actually expected people to watch these videos, or if they did, I didn't expect very many people to watch these videos. And sorry if the audio has a little echo. I am in my garage. I tried to record outside, but it's too windy, and I went upstairs and went to edit the video and listen to it, and I was like, this is not gonna work. I gotta redo this. So here I am again, round two. Gonna go over this installation real quick, and yeah, let's get right into it. If you have any mechanical experience whatsoever, you'd probably consider this installation a piece of cake. But first, we'll have to start with taking the old system off. So obviously, disconnect your battery, okay? That's just the right thing to do. And then let's take a stroll back here, back to the mufflers. And you got two bolts right up in here that you can't see because I have a crappy action camera and has bad, I don't know, whatever. It's just bad. And then you have some clamps to take loose and whatever. And then there's two bolts up under where the catalytic converter goes, which is right here in the middle of the car. You can find it. I'll actually back over the car, or back over the camera in the car when I'm done with this video, just to kind of show you guys what the exhaust looks like. And so you do that, and then there will be flanges down here with the stock manifolds, and you undo those, and then that'll drop down. You probably have to use PB Blaster. That stuff was stuck on. And then you got to use PB Blaster on your head bolts, and you can pull those out. And I can't really touch the engine bay because it's warm, because I recorded that video and I did revs and everything. I already got my revs. And I know there's some white smoke coming out of the exhaust, but it is extremely humid here in Missouri right now. And it's only when I rev it or get on it. It's nothing bad, nothing's wrong with the, well, actually stuff is wrong with the car, but that's not it. So I don't want to see a bunch of comments like, oh my gosh, you have white smoke coming out, you blew a head gasket. My head gasket's fine, unless my next video is I blew my head gasket. Then you'll know I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's just because it's so humid outside. So getting to actually taking the manifold off, there are a few things that have to be done. Obviously, you got to remove the air cleaner, get that all out of the way. And then you have to undo these fittings right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'm actually going to go grab a flashlight. Okay, so I'm back with a really crappy flashlight, but you guys can see that black fitting. Well, it's in my hand, so I really can't point. But this black fitting right there, you guys see, that comes off the top of your manifold. And you just got to undo that. And obviously you have to undo your spark plug boots, which are right down there, pointing at it with the flashlight. You probably can't see. But you got to take those boots off and take your spark plugs out. And then there's this little sensor down in there. This is why I try to record this outside, because the garage has terrible lighting, even though we have this light up there. Terrible lighting, but it's too windy outside, so you know, you gotta deal with it. So you remove that little sensor down there. You can see it, it's kind of tan, and you gotta remove that so you don't break it. And then you have your alternator bracket here, so you have to not undo, but you have to loosen that bolt there, and obviously you have to take that out because that's a manifold bolt. So you get all that out of the way, and your manifold just lifts right up out of here. Honestly, it's pretty easy to get the manifolds out. I did not have a problem with that whatsoever. Oh, and one more thing, your oxygen sensor down there, but that's when you remove the manifolds, you'll have to, or you remove the piping, you'll have to remove that oxygen sensor, get that wiring out of the way. And you drop the rear of the manifold down and lift it from the front, lift the front up and out, and it'll come right out of there. And then you pretty much have to do that with the header, but from the bottom. Lift your front of your header up into here, and then bring the back end up behind it, and get your gasket in behind there, and bolt them in. You have to torque them. This was about 30 pounds, 32 pound-feet, something like that, I believe. I did this in January, so I'm not gonna remember everything. I did a speech on it for public speaking. I could just upload that, but that's boring. You wanna actually look at the engine bay. And there is a tiny screw or nut or something back in there. You can see it in the camera. It's catching the glare. My finger's pointing right at it. I don't know, you might not be able to see it. I can see it on the camera screen here I'm looking at. And that was a pain in the butt to get around. You'll have to be really creative getting to the back bolts on these things. So I used a 1/4 inch ratchet drive that bent at the neck and an assortment of attachments. It was quite interesting to say the least. And my bolts are hex head on this Melrose set, so that probably changes a few things. So once you get it all bolted in, obviously put your alternator bracket back, put your spark plugs back in. I had to get Excel Shorty header plugs. They're like 50 bucks for the set, and they're just copper plugs, so that sucks. I don't get to use any fancy spark plugs unless I get different cylinder heads that have angled spark plugs, and I can do whatever I want. That would be cool, but cylinder heads probably not in my near future. And then you obviously put that emissions system fitting back on, and the spark plug wires might look like crap right now. They're routed terribly, but yeah, I don't know what to do about it. So they just look like crap. So then that's the driver's side. If I called the passenger side earlier, I'm sorry. It's because I'm stupid. And then you come around to the passenger side. The passenger side is very interesting. Manual I looked at said that they went in from the top, but I think they were talking about the manifold. It told me to take off my air conditioning compressor, right? So I do that, and lo and behold, you have something old, and you have old hoses, and I push this forward, and it breaks my main compressor hose right here. So that's nice. That was a $160 hose I had to have replaced and have my air conditioning recharged. It was just lovely. That was a great day, the day that hose broke. So this side's very similar to the other side. Obviously your air cleaner's off and everything. Then you also have this, I believe it's called AIR or air tube, that runs back to your catalytic converter. I just put the sensor back on mine, if you can see it down in there. I just put the sensor back on, or whatever that thing is. I don't know what it is, and just zip tied it back over here so it didn't rattle. It's been fine, the car runs fine, nothing's wrong, so shoot, I don't know. I think it's all good. And then you have a few sensors to undo. There's one back there, I don't know what it is. And there's also your NOx sensor, watch out for that. I broke mine, had to replace it. Ended up flushing the radiator. It was disgusting, so it's probably best I broke the NOx sensor. And then you also have to remove your engine oil dipstick tube, which we used vice grips, my dad and I. Dad helped me do this. Anytime I got stuck, he'd come and save me. So you have to remove the tube, and now it sits on the bolt. It doesn't go all the way down on it, it sits on top of it. So it hits this if I don't kind of bend it, which is kind of annoying, but it's a small price to pay for some horsepower. So I don't know if you guys can see it down in there, how it sits on top of that bolt. I think you can see it. And on this side, the manifold comes out the same as the other. Drop the rear end down, lift it up out of the front. Obviously you have your air conditioning compressor bracket here that has to be moved, like the alternator one on the other side. And then to lift it up from the bottom, you just undo your starter wiring, push it over out of the way, and then it just lifts right up in there, and you put it in there. Now Dad and I installed a mini starter when we did this, and let me tell you, that was kind of annoying because it wasn't an exact fit. Luckily I didn't have to shim it, so that's good for me because I had no way to test it, and it just told us test it by sound if it made any noises when you tried to start it, and it doesn't, and it works fine, and it starts. My old starter was dying, so that's good. Got that replaced. Had to custom make some aluminum flashing to cover the bottom. I didn't just want to leave a big hole to where it could throw stuff up in there, so got that done. And then you just put it all back just like the other side. And make sure you don't break your engine oil dipstick tube. This is very important that you don't break it. We just used vice grips and a hammer and got it up out of there. And it was kind of sketchy, but we got lucky. And then just like on the other side, this rear header bolt is going to be a pain in your butt if you're doing this installation yourself. So like I said before, you're going to need a assortment of tools to be able to do it correctly, because it is so difficult to reach. Most of them are pretty easy to reach, honestly. The job wouldn't have been too bad if I would have had any idea what I was doing at all. But I didn't know what I was doing, so this took me a month. Granted, I was in school, so it's not like I had to work on it all day. I just had a few hours every night. So once you get the headers on, then you put the rest of the system on. I don't think I really need to go over that. And then I have Mid-America Motorworks quad power mufflers. I had them on the car before it got headers. I love these things. I think they sound amazing, and they were only 300 bucks. I took it to an exhaust shop, and well, not an exhaust shop, just an auto repair shop that said they did exhaust. Charged me 100 bucks, did a crappy job. I ended up taking it to MJ Auto in El Dorado Springs, Missouri, so I'll give them a shout out. He did a great job custom making the rear end of the exhaust, mounting it up to the mufflers. Looks great, it's all welded in place, sounds great, so I'm really happy with it. So yeah, there's kind of the rundown on the whole header installation process on this car. Like I said before, it's whatever, kind of difficult, kind of not. Depends on how much experience you have. For someone who'd never really done anything major, that was quite a bit for me, especially having it take a month and having to figure out everything with the starter. It was kind of a pain, but luckily Dad was there to help me if I needed anything, so that was really nice. I would definitely recommend having someone else here to help you if you are going to do this. Actually putting the headers in, I did that by myself, and the next few days my back definitely felt it. It was not the best few days after doing that. So yeah, like I said, overall it's a great product. I ended up spending, I think, almost $2,000 by the time I had bought everything I needed. The headers and the exhaust system, that was a good price on everything. But by the time I paid the shop to weld up the rear end, and by the time I bought the torque wrench I needed and the different extensions I had to get to be able to reach those different bolts, and then obviously I had to buy coolant and the knock sensor because I broke it, so that was a huge pain in my butt. But overall, I'd say it was worth it. The car sounds amazing. I love it. It's fun to drive. And once again, thank you guys all for watching this video and for all the support I've received. I was definitely not expecting it. And have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.